Good evening, lovely viewers. Wherever you are joining us from, greetings to you. My name is Veronica Menkom, and we are back again to take the part 2 of our last program that we couldn't finish. Thank you very much for joining the program. Please follow the page, like, and share for other people to also watch. Your comments are much appreciated. And if you have not watched the previous video before, the last time we were having a live reflection with Dr. Etonam, and unfortunately the network was very bad for us, so we had to stop along the way. And today we are here to complete it. We are excited, and we hope today that the network will really work out very good for us and we'll be able to complete the program. Thank you very much. Please follow the page. Send us hi for us to know that you have joined. You can tell us where you are watching from. Thank you very much. So, good evening, Doc.
Good evening, Veronica. It's nice to be back again.
Yes. I'm happy that we are here again to complete the life reflection program. So, the last time, I think you go to where you were doing your national service, and I think we should continue from there. So, please, let's continue.
Yes, thank you. So, after my national service, I applied to several schools abroad to do my master's degree, but I was not successful. All the schools turned me down. So, I enrolled into an MPhil in Fisheries program at the University of Ghana. But then, after 1 year, I realized that I would not be able to fund my project, right? Because it was going to demand a lot of money. So there was a job advert for a job on a fish farm, and I applied thinking I could work part time. But they told me it was for full time. So if I wanted to work part time, it means I would have to defer the course and come and do that. But when I spoke to my father told when I spoke to my father told me that it would be better for me to just focus on the masters, and then if the fish farm really wanted me, they would still come for me after the masters. So I went for the interview and I passed, but I couldn't take the job. So around this time, we were wondering how I was going to pay for the second year of the master's program. And that was when I was offered a scholarship to Norway. And I decided to abandon the MPhil I was doing at Legon and rather going for the scholarship in Norway, because everything was going to be paid for and it was a good way to learn more, to get international exposure. Yes, that was at that point.
So, what happened when you go to Norway? How was your experience? Landing yourself in a new environment, everything, the culture was different. What was the experience there?
I It's a wonderful country, and I got married just before leaving. And it was so different from Ghana, and everything was, in Ghana things are slow, but over there it's A to B to C. But because I had done the 1 year of the MPhil in Ghana already, when I got there, things were not strange to me anymore because I had already done most of things like that in Legon. But I was lucky because I joined the Ghanaian community in my city, and I was always taking part in activities. And I also went to church, so I got a family at church, and then me and my Ghanaian friends, we were always having programs, so I didn't really get to feel that lonely. Yes. So I would say here that if anyone is abroad, they should involve themselves in whatever activities come up, because it gets very lonely. You are in Finland, which is cold. Norway is also very cold. So yes, um, it was a wonderful experience. I spent 2 years over
So,
there.
yes. I still want to ask a follow-up question. What about how was the nature of the class? Like, was it an international kind of thing? Like, did you meet other students from other countries? Did you had group work with them? What was the experience learning with other international students? Okay, so it is still the same problem today, but we'll continue the program. Viewers, thank you very much for joining. Please send us hi for us to know that you have joined. Thank you very much. And Moses, I've seen your comments. Most times we ask for their contact, but isn't always given. From whom do you always ask? Before you can get those people contact, you have to contact me first, and I've not received a message from you. You can't just ask from them. If you are looking for a mentor from any of these people that interview, you have to contact me so that I reach out to the person and see how possible it will be. So, Doc, I can see you are back. Thank you.
Yes, yes. What were we talking about? Yes, so it was an international program, and we were about 16 in class, and the language was taught in the course was in English. We were two Africans in the course, myself and an Ethiopian, and we really mixed very well with each other. It's just that in the first year, the Norwegians were not close to us. Um, we would say hello and all that, but they had their own group. They didn't want us to get closer to them. Um, but at church, I used to teach, and because of that, I had to learn Norwegian by force, as we would say in Ghana. So one day, my Norwegian students realized that I could actually speak Norwegian. And that was when one of them invited me over, and after that, it was just joy all over. I'm still in touch with my Norwegian friends. Yes.
Okay, nice to hear. So, when did you graduate from the program? And after graduation, what actually happens?
Oh, Veronica, that is the most interesting part of my story. So, when it was about time for me to finish, I was applying for PhDs, for jobs. I didn't want to come back to Ghana and all that. I think I applied to over 50 different PhD programs. Over 50. And I didn't get admission to any. I applied for several jobs, but I didn't get. So I said, well, according to the scholarship, I have to come back home. So, okay, let me come back home. So I came back home with 2 suitcases and nothing else. And my husband also came back home. He was in the US at that time, but we are all Ghanaians. So we both came home with just our bags and just hoping for better days. So, I spoke about the fish farm. I got the job offer and I didn't take it. They had advertised for a manager and I fit the description. So I applied again. And they said, "We remember you from 2 years ago, but this job is only for expatriates. We need only white people to fill that position. And but you come over and let's chat." So 2 months after I arrived in Ghana, I went to them. I thought we were going to chat, and they told me that, well, they can't make me the manager, but would I want to be a supervisor? They said they can't make me a manager, but do I want to be a supervisor? Am I okay with that? And I said, well, I just got back. I don't have a job. I would still want to work in my field. And so I said, fine, I'll do the job. And then that was how I got a job when I came back. Um, so it was a position lower than what I had applied for, but I wanted to learn, so I took it. Yeah. Um.
Yes.
Okay. Veronica, go.
Yes. So, thank you, viewers, for joining. The life reflection program is on with Dr. Etonam. It is a continuation from where we stopped the last term. True life reflection of an African child is meant to inspire young African youth to focus on education and entrepreneurship. And so basically, this life story can inspire you. And if you want the person to be your mentor, why not? The person can help you. Reach out to me and I'll reach out to the person and the person can volunteer. Which field do you want to go to? I'm bringing people from different educational background. Please, the challenges are always there, but I always think that we can make it. Dr. Etonam came to Norway, as she said. She studied there. She wanted to stay, but she couldn't. She has to go back to Ghana. But she's still married, and I'm happy for her. So, doctor, what happened? Your first year at your work, your former workplace.
So it turns out that um, I probably got pregnant a week before I got the job, and I didn't know. Um, so this was on a fish farm. It's actually the second largest fish farm in Africa right now. That is Tropo Farms or Volta Catch. So I was mostly on the Volta Lake working with our feeders and then doing fingerling transport. So I was based on the lake. About a month after I started the job, I would be vomiting anytime I got closer to the water or the fish. And I was eating things I didn't like eating. So my husband said, let's, you know, and I was pregnant and I was walking on these cages without life jackets, without anything, and I was pregnant. And my father said, these people may fire you because you just got the job and you're already pregnant. So what do you do? So I wrote a letter to them that I know I just got the job and I just realized I was pregnant. So I just want to let them know so that any decision they want to take, they should let me know. And then the owner wrote back and said that looking at the kind of output I gave, they were not ready for me to leave for them to train someone else. So I should still continue. But for the period of my pregnancy, I wouldn't be out on the water, but I'll be working from land and doing mostly scientific analysis, lab work, and things like that. So the first year was a lot of water quality assessment where we test the water, we we take samples from the fish to be sure they are healthy, that the water is healthy, and then I was working with other departments, and it was very tough for me being pregnant on a fish farm. I almost miscarried my daughter. I was bleeding, but by the grace of God, it went well, and I was able to give birth. But after delivery, it was challenging because going back to work, this was on a fish farm. So we don't have all those nice office setup and all that. And I have to express breast milk, and there is no place to express the breast milk. So I have to sit in the office and turn my back to my colleagues and be pumping. But it was an interesting period, motherhood and work. So that was how my first year passed. Now, this is a very tough job. So after my baby was born, I was back on the water again. And there were times I would cry, but the voice just told me that this job is difficult, but you are here to learn. So learn as much as you can. You are going to need it. That was what I always heard. Learn as much as you can. You are going to need it. And boy, did I need it. I was tasked to develop a quality assurance manual. So we moved from every department, developing the safety protocols and all that for each department. So we had the post-harvest, which is after we harvest the tilapia, they clean it and dress it and prepare it to send to our depot. Then I was in charge of fingerlings transport. I had a whole team with men under me. We worked the feeding units, all the various units. I had to develop the manuals and protocols in addition to doing my own job. And so I learned a lot just by developing those protocols. And I would always hear that voice that you will need this one day. Learn as much as you can. I also realized that the boys we worked with, even though they had mostly JSS education, but they had a lot of local knowledge. They knew a lot about the water. So on weekends, if we had to work, I would ask them to teach me what they knew with their local knowledge, and I would teach them back the scientific basis for whatever they were doing. So they started calling me Prof because they said that I always taught them, and we had a very good relationship, working relationship. Um, One day, our human resource manager called me and told me that, Jemima, you can't be here. This place is not for you. And I said, well, Mr. Issa, why do you think so? He said, you are meant to teach more people. Um, you are bigger than this farm. And the way you interact with people, you are supposed to be for a bigger audience. And I will laugh it off because I didn't see any other opportunity coming up or anything, but I still decided to learn as much as I could on the job. In all the other departments, if I wasn't busy, I would go around asking questions, interacting with the workers. Until after 3 years, I realized it was time to leave. And then I resigned after 3 years.
Wow. So after 3 years of returning to Ghana, and you worked at that time, you were also a mother, and you were able to combine these two, and then you managed it very well. Um, it was quite challenging, I think so, but you still made it. And after 3 years, what did you decide on, and what was your next move? Anyway, Uncle JBA Online, thank you very much for joining. I've seen you. Thank you very much. All comments are welcome. Please, we appreciate you so much. Thank you very much for joining the program.
Thank you, Veronica. So when I left, there was a job offer I saw as a coordinator for a project. So I took it, but after 1 month, I realized that my boss was a fraudulent person, and I felt I didn't want to soil my name or my reputation by continuing in that job because I was the project coordinator, but they were behind doing the wrong things. So one day I woke up and the voice was like, you have to quit the job. And I hadn't been paid in full either. All the promises I was giving, my boss didn't fulfill any of them. And I realized that my name was also on the line. So when I just heard that voice that you have to quit the job, I just wrote a letter and I quit and I went to stay home. Then there was an advert for a fully funded PhD scholarship at the University of Cape Coast in Ghana. When I saw the advert, I told myself that, oh, you applied for so many PhDs even when you were abroad and you didn't get it. This is Ghana. If you apply, you will not get. But people were calling me saying, have you seen the advert? I said, yeah. I said, apply for it. I said, oh, Charlie, this one there, Ghana party. If I apply, nobody will pick me. They have their people already. But people kept telling me, Jemima, apply. And so my husband told me if I didn't apply, he was going to apply on my behalf. And I was still not convinced. So he started the process and I had to finish it. And by the grace of God, to my own surprise, I applied and then they needed some reference letters. So the same HR manager at the fish farm who had told me that I needed to go do a PhD wrote one of the letters for me. And when we went for the interview, by the grace of God, I was among those selected. We were five in my year for that PhD program, and it was fully funded by the USA. They paid for everything. Everything. It was a surprise to me because PhDs are very expensive. So I always told myself that if I didn't get a scholarship, I wouldn't be able to do a PhD. And after applying when I was in Norway, when I came back, I thought that was the end of it. I would never be able to do one because I didn't have the money for it. And then by the grace of God, this PhD came and they took care of everything. The fees, they gave us a monthly stipend. They took us to the US for 4 months to learn some more techniques that were not available to us. So my colleagues and I got to learn some things that no one has done yet in Ghana before. And I'm very grateful to God for that opportunity. So I'll pause here if there are any issues, and then we talk about the PhD
Wow.
itself. Wow. Yes.
What a great opportunity. Should we call it grace or a luck? Because you were really searching for PhD after your master's in Norway, but unfortunately you didn't get. But this one, I think it was bigger. Per what we said, they pay for your fees and everything, and I'm sure even every month they give you something as
Yes.
to take care of yourself, something like that. It was a great opportunity. So sometimes some of the things that we don't get, it means that even greater ones are waiting for us. And that is how I think life is. Sometimes we are struggling to get certain things and then we are not getting it and we are wondering what is happening. Okay, thank you viewers for joining. Please send us hash for us to know that you have joined the program. Thank you very much. You are the reason why this program is on. And so, doctor, what happened after your PhD? What did you decide on?
Well, so when I enrolled in the PhD, I moved from aquaculture and I was studying fishery science. Um, at that time, we needed a lot of information on the biology of some fish species to manage them. For example, for the close season, if you've heard of it in Ghana, we don't allow our fishermen to fish for 1 to 2 months. It's some of the research that my colleagues and I did, the information from our research that was used to inform the need for the close season. And when it was time for the lab work, because I had already been doing scientific analysis on the fish farm and working on fish, it became very easy for me. And I said, okay, this is why I was supposed to learn everything, right? This is why I had to learn everything. So it was tough doing the PhD, but it was something that I could do because it was like I had already had practice, long hours, writing reports, and all that coming from the fish farm experience. Now, when I was in the last year of the PhD, I got pregnant with my second born, and it was easy. No, it wasn't. I was wondering how I would combine pregnancy with the final stages of my PhD. And you know that with PhDs, you need to write papers and all that. And here I was pregnant. I mean, I was tired. It was difficult. But I was determined to finish. So I left campus and moved in with my parents so that I could get some support whilst finishing. And then after my baby was born, I would wait at night after breastfeeding him at night, and then I would turn my laptop on and then continue working. So I think for about 4 or 5 months I wasn't sleeping because anytime the baby was sleeping, and that stressed me out. And I realized that I was beginning to develop signs of postpartum depression because the baby, my son was very clingy. He wouldn't go to anybody. He would cry all the time. I was stressed. He was stressed. We were all stressed. But my father told me something. He said that if you are stressed and you are breastfeeding, the baby will also get all those stress hormones in the milk. So if you want him to stop stressing you, you have to stop being stressed. You have the baby, you have to finish the PhD. Let's take it one day at a time. And I don't even know how I got to finish it, but after that, things got better for me, and I was able to finish the PhD. Yes.
Wow, awesome. You really did well. Having your second child and you were able to combine it very well. I think the story we women sometimes is always different, especially if you are married and you start to have children and then education is also on the same time. It's really quite stressful, but I think you really manage it very well. And I'm eager to know, how do you find yourself being a lecturer? Okay, so I think some network
I'm sorry, I
challenges.
didn't get that. Could you please repeat it for me?
Yes, after your PhD, your doctoral program, did you go straight to Winnipeg to start lecturing? How did you find yourself there?
Huh. This is all part of rising above the challenges, right? So after I had my son and I moved with my parents because my husband was traveling a lot. So I needed to be somewhere stable. I was teaching part-time at a private university college, but it was just about 4 hours a week to keep me busy. And so I was virtually unemployed. I was just going there to teach and then coming back home. I applied to about 4 different universities, but I wasn't successful. I did interviews, I went through the processes, but there was always one reason or the other. So, in effect, I was home for 2 years after the PhD. Yeah, from 2019 to last year. I was at home, and then I remember I got very depressed. And then I also had to work on writing scientific articles, but because my son was very clingy, I couldn't get time to do that. So one day my husband told me that, see, Etonam, you have so much experience in aquaculture and fish farming, and you're complaining that you need a job. So why don't you help people who are into fish farming but need the knowledge? And then you are selling your skills so that you can make some money out of it. So I began to organize fish farming seminars on one-on-one basis to get some coins, and I did that. Now let me go back to last week. You remember last week I said that because I had to wait an extra year after final year, I made friends with my genius because we had to write the chemistry papers together. So I saw an opportunity for a consultancy in aquaculture by an international organization. And I told myself that, oh, all the big guys are going to apply for this. So I called my former boss and asked him to apply. And he told me he was too busy. So I forgot about it. And then these friends of mine that I knew from 2007, 2008 called me and said, Doc, have you seen this thing in the paper? I said, yes, I've seen it, but it's for the big guys. They said, no, Doc, you have what it takes for us to do. We want to join you. Let's come together and write the proposal. And I said, oh, Charlie, this thing, they've shared it for themselves already. I won't apply. But my two guys, they told me that, Doc, let's give it a shot. So we wrote, hello? Yeah.
Yes, yes, I can hear
So
you.
we will give it a shot. Okay. So we said we'll give it a shot. And we applied for it. And funny enough, we got the contract. So I with my aquaculture experience and the PhD, they with some experience in project management and also aquaculture, we came together and we executed this successfully. And by the grace of God, now we do consultancies for other organizations in aquaculture. And I think that the Lord probably made me come back to Ghana and end up on that fish farm for a reason, because He knew all this was going to happen, so that one day it will be very easy for me when I'm working, because I already know what it takes to execute those jobs. So we were doing that, and then I saw the advert for the University of Education. Again, I told myself that University of Education is not related to my field, so I wouldn't apply. Again, people called me and said, you need to apply to this. We believe that if you get there, you can make an impact. And I said, well, I didn't do education. I'm a fisheries person. What am I going to do there? But people kept encouraging me. So I applied. And by the grace of God, I applied to the Department of Biology Education. And I was picked. And that's how come I ended up in Winneba
Wow,
last
a
year.
very big congratulations. I think the friends you made when you had to rewrite one of your papers was really beneficial for you. Um, yeah, sometimes we need to have good friends who can really push us towards our dream. So, and that is what Doctor benefited from. What about you? Are you making good friends? Okay, so Doc, well, since how long have you been lecturing at Winneba?
Just a year. I came last year. And since we got here, by the grace of God, we are young lecturers who have come in. So we are slowly trying to, not change things, but make things better because of the experience we have. And for those of us who had to work a little before going back to school, when we teach, we are able to blend the theory with the practical to let the students know that all the concepts they are learning are things that are used out there, and through that we are bringing about a change in mentality. And I'm grateful because we are trying to beef up our biology courses and introduce new programs. And there's a new department of agric education. And so because of that, the aquaculture experience I have is also going to be very beneficial. And I think that I'm grateful to God for everything that has happened so far, all the ups and downs. I've come to realize that they were just preparing me for something else. So now when I'm talking to my students, I'm talking from a better place. I can motivate them. If I see a struggling student, I can easily identify them. If I see someone who has to maybe work before coming to school, I know how to encourage that person. So I think everything, all the tears I cried, I shed, um, were because maybe God needed me to be able to speak to other people one day. And so I'm grateful for all my trials. I am.
And viewers, as you can see, Dr. Etonam is a great mentor even for her own students whom she lectures at University of Winneba. And these are the people we are looking for to impact the young generation that is coming up. And that is just what Dr. Etonam is doing. Thank you very much, viewers, for joining this program. Please send us hi for us to know that you have done. In fact, I've seen people watching, they come go, but I'm not seeing the messages coming. Please let us know that you have joined us. Thank you very much. So Doc, specifically, are you lecturing biology? I heard you mentioned biology. Yes, so viewers,
So
some scratch.
yeah,
Yes,
I
I heard
teach
you
various.
mention biology. So you lecture biology?
Yeah, so I lecture biology related courses. Because I'm a fishery scientist, I did a lot of aquatic biology. So I teach courses that are related to invertebrates, marine, various aspects of biology that deal with invertebrates and fish and things like that. And as the years go on, we are going to be improving upon the curriculum as well. Yes.
Wow. Thank you very much. You would think that life was so smooth for her when she started this life reflection program, but she has been unemployed before. Look, she said after she completed her master's program at Norway, she applied about 50 programs just to get PhD, but she couldn't succeed and she had to go back to Ghana and she kept trying. Now, always think that that is how life is. It is not once that you have to try, it's not twice. You have to keep trying until your luck shines. Are you looking up to Dr. Enna Etonam as a mentor? She can help you. What is your challenge? As she says, she has been helping her students. And I'm sure if you need some help from her, she can also mentor you. Just reach out to me and I'll talk to Dr. Etonam and see how she can help you. Thank you, viewers, for joining this program. And we'll soon be closing. So should I ask, what is your experience with the students? What do you think? Like, I know you are not an old person, but at the time that you were at the university in Ghana and this time, what are some of the changes that you have seen? Is it positive? Is it negative?
Well, I think that back then we were very, very serious with our books. These days, the distractions for them are many. And so I tell them that instead of using their phones for sports betting, because that's the new thing, everyone is betting, they should rather use their data for research. So what I do is that in my lectures I incorporate a lot of multimedia. We go on YouTube, I give them links, I give assignments on things they have to look for online so that they will use their data for something better. And I also try to expose them to the fact that we have softwares and programs that are needed in the world out there. So if they can try to do some self-improvement, it will help. There are also some students that are very, very intelligent even now, and you can tell when you are interacting with them that these people are focused and determined and they'll make it.
Excellent. Nice to hear this. Um, so we are about ending the program. What is your last advice for us, the viewers? Your students and young African youth who have not reached your level, people that are struggling to get something, to get job, to get like their dream, what they really want. What advice do you have for us?
Okay, what I would like to say is that let's look for what we are passionate about and our talents and try to build up on them. So for someone like me, they say my talent is talking. So if my talent is talking, I should try to improve. And how best can I make money out of the talking that I know how to talk? So because I did aquaculture, then I'm saying that okay, I don't want to go back to working on the farm, but I want to help people who are into fish farming improve upon their business. So that is me taking advantage of what I know how to do best. I would also want to say that I have come to realize that whatever challenge or trial we go through at a particular moment is actually building us up for something else. So during that trial, instead of being depressed or despondent, let's ask ourselves, what can I learn from this situation? And make sure we learn from it. Because we don't know when God will need us to use that experience in another area. No matter what the challenge is, let's stay focused and determined and also listen to the Holy Ghost. I'm a Christian, that's why if you hear that small voice telling you do this, don't do that, please follow it. You may be going down a path that may not be right. It may guide you to a better path. I think that's the advice I have. It can be done. We are
Yes.
women. We are women. We are married. We have kids. We don't get to sleep. The men will be asking for their reports, the assignments, one day at a time. Um, I've come to realize just one day at a time, and the Lord will
So,
do the rest. Yeah.
yes, one day at a time. That is what the last word from Dr. Etonam. And I think that the challenges we meet in life are meant to strengthen us for greater opportunities. And so she told us that we should not get so frustrated. We should stay focused and work towards our dream line. Dr. Etonam, do you have something to tell your friends? A lot of your friends were sending you congratulations messages, and some
Wow.
actually reached out to me about you. You are a great personality and all those stuff. Your mom and dad, you see, you thought they were giving you hard time, but I'm sure today you appreciate all the advice your mom and dad were giving you. What do you want to tell your family and friends?
Oh, I'm someone who is very close to my family, and I am that person that people say I'm nice to everybody. I really appreciate my friends. I even appreciate people who are not my friends but who reach out to me, because I've come to realize that in life, the people you meet on your way up, you meet them on the way down, you still meet them on the way up. As you go higher, they may still come and meet you. And no man is an island. We are all here to learn from each other. And so I appreciate all my friends, all my relatives, parents, people who have come into my life for good or bad. I appreciate everything, because even for Jesus Christ to die on the cross, someone had to sacrifice, someone had to betray him. So even Judas had a role to play. So whether good or bad, for all my experiences, I have come to say I'm grateful. Thanks to everyone, everybody. We couldn't have
Yes,
made it
and I
this far.
appreciate you so much, Dr. Etonam. My few interaction with you actually shows that you are a great personality. The kind of messages you send me, so many kind words. I'm very grateful, and it is wonderful. You have shared your life reflection with us, African youth. I hope many people will be inspired. The challenges are always there. Please, as I said, if you need any of these people that I interview here, you have to contact me first, because maybe the person doesn't even know you. And for me, I didn't also know Dr. Etunam, but as she said, she's a very good personality. And we had good time for the past days that we chat to arrange for this program. And I hope it will continue. If I reach out to her to help any of the youth, not financially, but a kind of mentorship that can help the person to take up your steps and maybe even do better. We need a good generation from Africa that in the future generation will not just be like the way we are struggling, and that they will be able to work very smartly, and there will be jobs for them. They will have better standard of living and all that kind of thing. You know, the world is going at developed countries are really going at a faster rate, but developing countries like Africa, Ghana and other African countries are really struggling, and these are some of the challenges. I hope the future gets better for the generations that are yet to come. So, Dr. Etonam, thank you very much for the time. At least the
Thank you.
network has been good for us this evening. Not quite good,
Yes.
but at least we heard you very well.
Yes, I'm also happy it worked. I was so disappointed last week, but I'm glad today it's been better. Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay. So thank you very much. Viewers, thank you very much for joining. As I said, if you want to share your life reflection program on this page, please reach out to me and let's talk. But you should know the purpose. It is meant to inspire young African youth to focus on the education and so you must be successful in education or entrepreneurship. These are the qualities that we are looking for. It doesn't matter your background. I'm looking up to all the professions. Thank you very much, viewers, for joining. And it's bye till we have our another episode. Thank you, Doc. Bye bye.
Bye.